What would you do if you spotted your ex at the airport holding a child with your exact eyes and then she vanished into the crowd before you could say a single word? That's exactly what happened to Logan Walker, a billionaire who thought he had everything under control until the past collided with his present in the most shocking way possible. 3 years after Grace Miller disappeared from his life without explanation, he saw her again at JFK, with a little boy clinging to her side, a boy who looked far too much like him to be a coincidence. But when he chased her, she was already gone. That one moment unraveled everything Logan thought he knew about Grace, about the truth, and about the family he never knew existed. What followed was a storm of buried secrets, betrayal, and a powerful mother determined to erase the past at any cost. And the question on everyone's mind now is, did Grace keep the child hidden? Or was someone else pulling the strings all along? Stay with us. What you're about to see is a roller coaster of love, deception, and redemption, leading to a final twist you won't see coming. It was supposed to be another routine business trip. Logan Walker, billionaire CEO of Walker Global Investments, stepped through JFK Airport with the air of someone who never missed a flight until the moment he saw her. There by Gate 17, in a crowd of rushing travelers and flickering departure screens, stood Grace Miller. Logan froze. 3 years. It had been 3 long years since she vanished from his life without a trace. No fight, no goodbye. Just a text message that had left his chest hollow. "I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore." But it wasn't just her that stunned him. She was holding a little boy, maybe 3 years old, wrapped in a soft blue coat, a knit hat barely covering dark blonde curls. And when the boy turned his face slightly toward Logan, time stopped. Those eyes, piercing, unmistakable ice blue, just like Logan's. He took a breath that never made it to his lungs. The crowd around him faded into blur. The boarding announcements disappeared under a buzz in his ears. There was only her and the boy who looked like him. Logan took a step forward, then another. Grace turned her head slowly, cautiously, and in that split second their eyes locked. Panic flashed across her face. Before he could even part his lips to speak, she spun around and pulled the child close to her chest, her steps urgent, disappearing into the sea of strangers. "Grace!" he shouted, but his voice was swallowed whole by the roar of rolling suitcases and airport chatter. He sprinted after her, weaving through passengers, ignoring a security guard yelling something behind him. When he finally reached the last spot, he saw her. There was nothing. Nothing but silence, and a tiny blue beanie on the floor embroidered with a single word: Liam. Logan stood there breathless, his heart thudding like a war drum in his chest. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't just déjà vu. He knew what he saw. That boy was his son. Later that night, Logan sat in silence inside his penthouse overlooking New York City. The skyline blinked in a cold steel gray, but his world had narrowed to one thing: her. Brandon Scott, his business partner and closest friend, placed a glass of whiskey on the marble counter. "You look like hell, I saw her," Brandon Logan murmured. "Grace." Brandon blinked. "You're sure I'd know her anywhere?" "But she had a kid." Brandon didn't speak. He just waited. Logan clenched the glass. "He had my eyes. He looked exactly like me. No doubt. It wasn't just resemblance, it was blood." Brandon tilted his head. "What do you want to do?" "I don't know," Logan whispered. "I don't know where she lives. I don't know why she left. But I do know one thing." He looked up, his voice sharp as broken glass. "I have to find her." Hours later, long after the city had gone to sleep, Logan was still in his study staring at his laptop screen. But he wasn't reading emails. He was scrolling through old photos of Grace, his jaw tight. He remembered the last night they were together. She had kissed him softly and said she was going out to get groceries. She never came back. He tried to find her, hired private investigators, searched every lead, but it was like she vanished into the air. Now, suddenly, 3 years later, she appears with a child. He lit a cigarette, something he hadn't done in years. The smoke curled toward the ceiling as he leaned back, whispering to himself, "Why didn't you tell me?" The next morning, Logan called in every favor he had. Within hours, he had names of towns Grace had once mentioned: her old university, a friend's address in Vermont. Everything pointed him toward a quiet little place called Riverside. He drove upstate that afternoon. It was a cold day. The air had that crisp edge of fall that smelled like wood smoke and dried leaves. As he pulled into Riverside's main street, something in his chest twisted. It was the kind of town where secrets could hide in plain sight. He checked cafes, local bookstores, even a church. Nothing. But then at a quaint little diner near the town square, a waitress stared long and hard at the photo of Grace he showed her. "I think she comes in here sometimes," the woman said. "Always with a little boy." Logan's heart slammed against his ribs. "Do you know where she lives?" "Afraid not," the waitress replied, "but she usually comes in around 6. Logan sat at a booth and ordered coffee. The clock ticked slowly. 5:40, 5:45, 5:59. At exactly 6 o'clock, the bell above the diner door jingled. And there she was, Grace Miller, wrapped in a gray coat, hair tied back, eyes darting with that same cautious alertness, her hand gently holding Liam's as they entered. She hadn't changed. If anything, she looked more exhausted, more guarded, but still heartbreakingly beautiful. And the child? Logan's breath caught again. The resemblance was even more obvious now. Liam had his angular jawline, the same intense stare, the same smirk when he looked up at the cookie tray. Logan stood up. Grace turned and froze. Their eyes met again. She whispered, "What are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing." Her voice was firm, guarded. "Not here. Please. You've been hiding from me for 3 years. I think anywhere is a good place." She tightened her grip on Liam's hand. "I have nothing to say to you." Logan stepped closer, eyes flashing. "Then tell me this is that child." Mine. Grace's face drained of color. The spoon Liam was holding clattered onto the floor. She didn't answer. "Not yet, and neither will we. I'm so sorry to stop right here, but I promise what Grace says next will change everything. But first, let me ask you, if you were in Logan's shoes, how would you react seeing your ex with a child who might be yours? Do you think Grace had a reason to disappear, or is she hiding something darker? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and tell us what country you're watching from. If this story stirred your emotions, even just a little, please tap that like button and share the love. Right now, Grace didn't answer right away. She looked down at Liam, who was now crouched by the table playing with the dropped spoon, as if the air hadn't just been sliced open by Logan's question. "Is he mine, Grace?" Logan repeated, quieter this time, but with steel in his voice. "Don't lie to me, not now." Grace's lips parted, but no sound came out. Her hands were trembling. She looked around the small diner, too many ears, too many eyes. Her instincts screamed run, but her legs didn't move. "Not here," she finally whispered, barely above a breath. "Come to my apartment. Please." Logan hesitated, scanning her face. He didn't trust her. Not yet. But something in her voice, maybe the fatigue, maybe the fear, pulled him in. "Lead the way." She lived 5 blocks away in a quiet second-floor walk-up above a bookstore. The apartment was small, cramped, and smelled faintly of cinnamon and old paint. Liam kicked off his shoes and climbed onto a couch that looked like it had been passed down through generations. Within minutes, he was curled up and fast asleep. Grace pulled the door to his room halfway closed, then stood with her back to it, arms crossed, spine straight like she was preparing for war. "You want answers," she said. "Fine. I'll give them to you." Logan didn't sit. He stood in the middle of the room like a storm waiting to strike. "Start talking." Grace's voice was flat. "Yes, he's yours. Liam is your son." Silence crashed over the room like a wave. Logan stared at her, blinking once then again, as if the world had gone out of focus. Then slowly he ran a hand over his face. "How long have you known?" "Since the beginning. And you never told me." His voice cracked like thunder. Grace swallowed hard. "I tried." "Don't," he snapped. "Don't you dare say that." "I tried," she said louder, stepping forward. "I came to your building. I had a letter. I was going to tell you. Then why didn't you?" She drew in a shaky breath. "Because your mother stopped me." Logan froze. "What, Charlotte?" she said, her voice hollow. "She found me before I could reach you. Told me you'd moved on, that you were already engaged, that you had no interest in this life." Logan's jaw clenched. "That's a lie." "I know," she snapped back. "But I didn't then. I was 24, broke, pregnant, terrified. And your mother, God, Logan, she looked at me like I was dirt under her shoe. She offered me money, a lot of it. Told me if I truly cared about you, I'd leave and never look back. He took a step forward, his face pale. And did you know, Grace whispered. But I left anyway, not for the money, because I believed her, because I didn't want to force myself into your life if you didn't want me, and because she made me feel like I didn't belong. Logan turned away, gripping the windowsill. His knuckles were white. My mother, he muttered. She knew, all this time. I didn't come back to ruin your life, Grace said. I just wanted Liam to be safe. That's all I've ever wanted. He turned slowly, eyes burning. You stole 3 years from me, and I've had to live every day knowing I did, she whispered. You think that's easy? The room crackled with unsaid things. Then Logan exhaled hard. He's my son. I have a right to be in his life. I'm not stopping you, she said quietly. Then don't expect me to disappear again. I'm not, Grace said. But Logan, I mean it, he cut in. You don't get to push me out. Not anymore. The sound of Liam stirring in the next room broke the tension. Grace glanced toward the door. Logan's voice dropped low. Does he know? She shook her head. He knows there's someone missing, but I never told him who. I want to tell him. I want to meet him properly, as his father. Grace hesitated, then finally nodded. Tomorrow. You can come by after school. Logan walked to the door. I'll be here. He opened it, but just before stepping into the hallway, he turned back. For the record, Grace, you didn't ruin my life. His voice softened. You gave it meaning. I just didn't know it yet. She stood in the silence long after he was gone, her heart pounding. But the storm wasn't over, not even close. The next morning at the local market, Grace felt a chill crawl down her spine before she even turned around. She knew that presence, icy, judgmental, controlled. And when she finally looked up, Charlotte Walker was standing there, flawless, imposing, smiling like a viper. Grace, she said, her voice syrupy sweet. You look older. Grace's fingers curled around the handle of the shopping basket. I'm not doing this. Oh, but I think you are, Charlotte replied. Tell me, was this your plan all along, to trap him with a child, hoping for some kind of inheritance? Don't, Grace, warned voice low. You should have stayed gone, Charlotte said. You're not the kind of woman who fits the Walker name, and that child, he doesn't belong in our world. He's not yours, Grace hissed. Charlotte's smile widened venom behind every syllable. No, but he could be. If I file for custody, and trust me, I've done it before. Grace went cold. You wouldn't. Charlotte leaned in close. Watch me. I hate to pause the story here, but trust me, what Charlotte does next will leave you speechless. Now let me ask you, do you believe Grace made the right choice by hiding Liam all these years? What do you think Charlotte's next move will be, and can Logan really stop her? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us, what country are you watching from right now? If this story moved you, please hit that like button and help others discover this emotional journey. Continue. Grace didn't sleep that night. Even after putting Liam to bed, even after double-checking the locks and staring at her phone for over an hour, she couldn't settle the pounding in her chest. Charlotte Walker's threat echoed in her mind like a ticking clock. I've done it before. He could be mine. Watch me. She knew Charlotte wasn't bluffing. The woman had power, money, connections, things Grace didn't. And now that Logan had re-entered their lives, Charlotte had reason to strike harder than ever. The next morning, Logan showed up right on time, wearing a gray coat and a determined look. Liam opened the door before Grace could even reach for the handle. Hi, Liam said, blinking up at him. Logan knelt down eye level. Hey there, I'm Logan, your mom's friend. Liam tilted his head. You talk like me. Logan smiled. Maybe because we're more alike than you think? Grace watched from the kitchen, her heart squeezed tight as Liam slowly reached for Logan's hand. That afternoon they went to the park. It was the kind of day that felt like the start of spring, even though winter was technically still hanging on. Logan pushed Liam on the swings, helped him build a lopsided sandcastle, and taught him how to spot squirrels in the trees. At one point, Grace caught them laughing together, really laughing, and she had to look away. It was all too much, too fast, too real. That night after Liam fell asleep, Logan stayed for tea. They sat on the small couch, the quiet between them heavier than any words. "I have to tell you something," Grace finally said, her voice barely audible. He looked at her. "I know. Charlotte came to see you, didn't she?" She nodded, eyes wet. "She threatened to take Liam." Logan didn't flinch. "Then let her try." "You don't understand," Grace whispered. "She's ruthless. She's done this before. She doesn't play fair." "That's why I won't either," Logan said. "You're not alone in this anymore, Grace. I'm not going anywhere." But 2 days later, a formal letter arrived. A legal notice from Charlotte's attorneys petitioning the court for emergency custody of Liam Walker, citing unstable living conditions and parental alienation. Grace felt her knees buckle when she read it. "She's really doing this," she whispered. "She's going to take him from me." Logan didn't speak right away. Then calmly he said, "No, she's not." He called Brandon, called his lawyers. He pulled every string, burned every bridge he needed to. And then he held a press conference. Standing in front of flashing cameras and microphones, Logan declared, "3 years ago, I was robbed of the chance to be a father. Not by the woman beside me, but by the woman who raised me. Today I reclaim my role not just as a CEO or a public figure, but as a dad. And no amount of legacy or intimidation will ever come between me and my son again." The media exploded. Charlotte, ever image-conscious, suddenly had reporters camped outside her estate in Connecticut. Old stories about her controlling behavior and hush payments resurfaced. The tide turned. 1 week later, Logan received a single envelope. No signature, no return address. Inside a note, "You may have won the public, but I never lose the war." Charlotte Walker had withdrawn her case. Back in Riverside, Grace sat beside Logan on a park bench while Liam played nearby. The wind brushed through her hair as she turned to him, visibly shaken. "I don't know how to thank you." "You don't have to," he said. "He's my son. You're more than you think you are to me." She stared ahead, not speaking. He added, "You still don't trust me." "I want to," she said softly. "But I'm afraid of that you'll leave once the storm is over, that you'll realize you don't belong in this world." Logan gently took her hand. "Then I'll build a new one where we both belong." Tears filled her eyes. A week passed, then a month. Logan rented a house nearby, not too close, but close enough. He didn't push. He let Liam set the pace. He let Grace breathe. And then one warm evening, Grace showed up on his porch. Liam was asleep in the car. She stood at the doorstep, uncertain. "I made dinner," she said. "Enough for 3, if you're free." Logan smiled. Always. That night, the 3 of them ate spaghetti on mismatched plates. Liam told silly jokes. Grace laughed freely. Logan watched them like a man finally waking up from a nightmare. As they cleaned up, Liam yawned and reached for Logan. "Daddy," he mumbled sleepily. "Can you carry me?" Logan froze. Grace did too. But then Logan stepped forward and scooped him up, whispering, "Of course." Later, as they stood at the doorway, Grace touched Logan's arm. "I don't want to be afraid anymore," she said. He turned to her, quiet and sure. "Then don't be. I'm still here." And for the first time in a long, long while, she believed him. Now let me ask you, if you were in Grace's shoes, would you have trusted Logan again after all that time? Do you think Charlotte will come back in the future? Or was this truly her final move? What do you think of this story overall? If you loved it and want more stories like this, comment number 3 below. If it felt just okay, comment number 2. And if you think we can do better, be honest, comment number 1. Also, we'd love to know what country are you watching from today. Please don't forget to tap that heart and share this video with someone who believes in second chances and real love.